Hi team, greetings everyone. In our previous session, we have seen how to do manual test case management in FireFlink platform, where we have seen how to map the automation script to the existing manual test case as well as vice versa. In today's session, we are going to see the prerequisite for a script execution, meaning that what are all things that has to be done in our local machine before we trigger a script execution. Now, if you can see, we have a script. Verify the user is able to register. Let me just click on it, which will navigate me to that particular script. And here I'll be start adding the steps like open browser, maximize browser, and navigate to URL. So here let me add them. So how do we do that? Just click on this plus step. So start typing open browser because I want to open the browser. So here if you can see, I got the suggestion already. I'll just click on it. I'm getting a pop-up here and I'll just click on add. Next step, once I open the browser, I want to maximize the browser. I'll just click on this add button. So I'm getting the suggestion list where I have to search for maximize. I'll just say maxi. So here already I got the suggestion maximize browser window. I'll just click on it and add the same. Again, I want to add one more step saying navigate to URL because I want to navigate to the specific application. I'll just click on this add. Now I'll type in navigate. So here I already got the suggestion navigate to URL. I'll just click on it. Here if you can see, it is asking for the URL. So this NLP, I am using it for navigation to the specific URL. So it is asking give me the URL, I will navigate. So for that, let me just give the URL of the application which we are going to automate, which is nothing but shopper stack. So this is the URL. I'll just copy the same and let me paste it here. And I'll just click on add. So I have written these three steps which will open the browser, maximize the browser, navigate to this particular application for which the URL has been given. Now, when I say I want to execute this, what we used to do, we used to click on this run button. So before we click on this run button, we have to make sure that we have installed one application in our local machine. So what is this application? Why do we need this? We will discuss that in detail in the further session. Now I'll show you how to download the application. For downloading the application, if you can see inside a script level, we have this more option, right? Just click on this more option over here. You will get this download client option. So we are going to download the client. I'll just click on this download client link. And here you will be getting this particular download client pop-up. Depending upon the OS of your local machine, you have to select the OS. In my case, it is Windows. I'll select Windows. Once I select Windows, if you can see the download button is enabled, I'll just click on download. So once I click on download, an exe file will be getting downloaded. I'll just show you. See here, an exe file is getting downloaded. So once the exe file is downloaded, I'll show you how to install that as well. So let it download. Now the file has been successfully downloaded. So this will be present in my local machine, right? I'll just open this. So this is the exe file which will be downloaded. Now I'll just right click on this and I will open. So once we open the exe file in Windows machine, it is going to ask you, do you want to allow this app to make changes to your device? Just give yes. And now once you get this particular license agreement pop-up, say I agree. And install without changing any of the designation folder. If you want, you can change. Now I don't want to change anything, so I'll just click on install. So this will install the FireFlink client application in your local machine. So now once the installation is finished, I'll just click on finish. So once I click on finish, this will automatically launch the FireFlink client in my local machine, which is nothing but my computer. Here if you can see, this is the client machine which we were talking about. Now here if you can see in the top right corner, there are two buttons. One is sign in button, one is quit button. So let me just click on this sign in button and let me see. So here if you can see, it is navigating me to the sign in page where I have to give the email ID and password which I have already registered using FireFlink platform. So let me give my username and password. So now let me enter my password. And let me just click on sign in. So if you notice something, before signing in, I had only one navigation, which is called as locator finder. How do I know the name of this? If you can see, there is a FireFlink logo and there is a expand icon. Just click on this expand icon and you will be able to see the names of different sections. Before I sign in, I was able to access only locator finder. After I sign in, I was able to access UI UX testing. When I click on this, in this section, we can do the UI UX testing. When I click on control panel, here, if you can see, there is a multiple information. So let me just expand, means maximize this particular window. Here, if you can see, this particular application is showing like services, ports, and actions. Now, whenever we install any application, not only FireFlink client, any application in your local machine, that is your computer, it is going to occupy a port in your local machine, and in that particular port, the application will be running. When we install this FireFlink client in our local machine, it is going to occupy 4 different ports here. So what are these 4 different ports? Why it is going to occupy 4 different ports here? So let us discuss the same. Now here if you can see, it is occupying 4723 and it is mentioned as execution client mobile. So this port is occupied for mobile execution. If I want to trigger any kind of mobile execution, then this port should be occupied. And coming to the second port 4444, which is for web execution. So if I want to run any kind of web execution, then this particular port should be occupied. And execution client core, this provides the base where the execution is going to happen in my local machine. And execution result core, this is for once after the execution is done, in FireFlink we will get step level result, script level results in the UI itself. For loading all those results, we need this particular port for that. So these ports are occupied with respect to the installation of FireFlink client in your local machine, and using these different ports, we will be getting different results in the UI. So here if you can see, we have another section called as configuration. Let me just click on this configuration. Now, as I told you, not only FireFlink application, many applications, once it is installed into your local machine, it will be occupying some ports, right? Say for example, this 4444 or 4723 is occupied by some other application. In that case, I cannot, means this FireFlink client cannot occupy the same port. In one port, only one application can run. So if I want to change the port number, I can use this particular configuration section to change the port number. So now we will focus on this control panel. And here if you can see, initially the status is showing as, means the action is showing as initializing. Later this particular port is coming to stop status. What is this stop status indicates? Stop status indicates that this particular port has been occupied and the application is running. Why not for other ports? It is saying initializing because it is downloading the required files for these ports. Once all the files are downloaded in your local machine, all these ports will come under stop condition. Stop condition indicates that that particular port is completely occupied and it is running. So we have to wait for all the ports to come to stop status. So let it come to stop status. Meanwhile, we will understand why we need to install this FireFlink client in our local machine for execution purpose. For that, let me just give a simple presentation. So initially, we have a computer, right? So in this computer, we are accessing the FireFlink application. So here, if you can see, this is the FireFlink application that we are accessing where we are writing the scripts. And once we write the script, what we are doing, we are clicking on the run button to click, means to execute that particular script, correct? So once I click on run button, what is going to happen? Once I click on run button, a request will be sent to the FireFlink server saying that this person wants to execute the particular script. So now FireFlink server, which has the source code of FireFlink, will access that source code and it will try to communicate with my local machine. Why? Because the execution will be happening in my local machine, right? Now my server, means FireFlink server, has to communicate with the client machine which is present in my local machine. So which is the client machine? The one which we installed in our local machine, which is nothing but FireFlink client. So this FireFlink server will communicate with this FireFlink client, and this FireFlink client will be triggering the execution in my local machine. So this is how the workflow of script execution is going to happen. First thing is we have to write the script. We have to click on the run button. This will send a request to the FireFlink server, and FireFlink server will try to communicate with the FireFlink client, which is installed in our local machine. And our FireFlink client, which is installed in our local machine, is going to trigger the execution. So this is why we need to install FireFlink client in our local machine. What if FireFlink client is not installed in our local machine? Then FireFlink server cannot communicate with this FireFlink client, and the execution is not going to happen in our local machine. So this is the necessity for installing the FireFlink client in our local machine. And once after the installation is done, we have to wait for all these ports to come under stop status. So initially it will take some time to load all the ports. So let us see let us wait for the ports to come to stop status.